Hey guys, thanks for coming back and checking out this video. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some tips and tricks on how to get through early game aberration. Now, this isn't necessarily going to cover everything, and yes, I'm definitely going to cover a lot more coming up in some more of these videos. Some of the things are already covered in the previous videos, like resources. I highly recommend checking those out, especially if you're having some troubles with red gems. Take a look at that mole rat part of the video. It's going to be very, very helpful for you. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it here. If you guys have any other questions or concerns, leave a comment below and I'm happy to answer them there. Additionally, I really appreciate these likes and follows, guys. Keep it up. Alright guys, so the first tip I want to go ahead and give you guys is on these hooks. So these hooks do break pretty quickly, just like this, but you can pull out a second pair and immediately latch back to the wall. Another quick tip on these is you can actually repair them in your inventory with one of the plier tools. It does cost a little bit more resources, but it's well worth it, especially with how fast they do break. As you can see here, they repair pretty quick and it didn't really cost that much. Additionally, I wanted to talk about the fact that you can actually walk on the roof like you'll see here. This is actually a really, really good way to get around. It also helps you guys place things like this. These are really, really good platforms in my opinion. You just have to be careful where you place them. Let's get into mushrooms a little bit more in detail. There's 4 types. You have the agaric, which is a healing type of mushroom. You have the ascorbic, which is the narcotic mushroom. The auric, which is the stimberry basically mushroom. Then you have the aquatic, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. These are located all over the entire map. You can find them all over the place. Any of them will give you all 4 types of mushrooms. So feel free to pick them all up. They're very, very useful. You can use herbivore type creatures to gather more of them, just like you can with normal berries. There's a couple things to be aware of. The first one's going to be this hallucinogen type of effect that you can get off of them. The agaric, actually, if you pop 10 of those, it will get rid of this automatically for you, so you don't have to go through the entire effect. Next thing is going to be these little ice guys here. They'll actually give you this really, really cold debuff, which loses health and tries to knock you out. You'll probably knock out before you die. There's a cool thing that the aquatic one actually does. If you pre-prep them, you can see a little buff here and walk over them, you will not take that negative effect. You can't do it during, but you can do it preemptively. The last thing here is those ascorbic are basically narcotics. You can use them instead of narco berries to make narcotics, and they do exactly the same thing as narco berries. I touched on this gas ball thing in my resource video, but I wanted to come back to this. You actually can pick up gas balls without a collector down. They actually bubble up here, but you have to be careful. As you can see here, you will get this status effect defect, or this debug, and it will actually kill you. It'll kill you pretty quick, as you'll see right there, so be careful. This is going to be kind of a random tip, but the basilisks can actually dig down into the ground. That's how you originally find them. You can actually dig down into the ground with them. I'm not sure how useful this will be, but I'm sure you guys will find something about that. Anyway, check out my taming video to find out how to tame these guys. Alright, this tip's going to be a little bit more useful here for you guys. Ravengers actually have a pretty cool ability. They can actually go ahead and half the weight on some of the raw resources. This is going to be things like wood, raw metal, obsidian, crystal, things like that. So it's going to be basically like the beavers are in the other one, and it only does half, so be careful. It doesn't reduce them 100%, but this is going to be very, very useful, especially if you tame them in packs, especially with how dangerous aberration already is. I would highly recommend getting some of these, taming them up, and having them follow you around while you gather up some of these materials. They'll be super, super useful. Okay, so the Nameless seem to be giving people a lot of trouble as well. There's a couple of ways you guys can deal with these guys. They do a lot of damage, especially because they usually come in a lot of numbers. They're usually in a big pack because of that right there. You'll see the alpha, he'll actually transform, he'll summon more of them, which can lead into the king. That's another video. Anyway, if you bring them here into the light, they'll get this debuff, which you can see right now. It's that glowing fire-ish type thing on them. That will actually make them do a lot less damage and take a lot more damage. One side effect is they do seem to dig down a lot, but if you go ahead and just exit out of the light area, they'll come back up, they'll keep trying to attack you. Make sure you deal with them pretty quick. This little gem that I just showed you there, that's kind of like a grenade. It's the plant species Z. I'll go ahead and cover that over in my next video, so check that out. I'm not going to go into too many details here. One of the last things you can go ahead and do, outside of what we've shown you already, is carry around one of the light animals. Specifically, Bulldog works perfect, which you'll see right here. I would go ahead and recommend carrying one of these. If not, you know, it doesn't really matter which one you carry, but definitely carry one of these around, as it's definitely going to help you beat these things down. The Nameless are pretty useful. That's going to come up in another taming video later, but those are some of the ways you can go ahead and get rid of them, some of the ways you can deal with them, and I hope that helps. Okay, the last thing we're going to cover is the Overworld. The overworld is basically the area outside of Aberration that covers or is above the actual map itself. Out here you have all 3 of the obelisks, and there's additional resources that I didn't get a chance to cover in my last video, mostly because I didn't know about them. You can actually pick up metal, you can pick up oil out here. Oil is probably going to be one of the best resources to pick up out here, since you can't get it anywhere outside of the radiation zone other than the trilobites, which we talked about before. But as you can see, during the day this place is scorching hot. If you actually tried to live out here, or if you try to come out here during the day, you will die, so be very, very careful. At night you also have to be careful. The reason for that being is because it gets super, super cold. As you can see here, we have some of the actual resources and what they look like. And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and show you about what time it goes from night to day. And then at that point, that's the point you will burn up. As you can see right here, you're going to die very quickly, and your dinos will die as well. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. And if there's any other tips or tricks that you'd like to know about, leave those in the comments below. And you guys have a great night. Thanks for watching.